are VR gloves. So they essentially replace the clunky controllers that you're using right now on the Oculus. And the idea is you'll be able to feel in VR. So we have the sight from the headset. We have the movement from the Omni One. We have the feeling on the body from the Tesla suit. But this will allow you to feel the different weight of objects when you're picking them up in the virtual world. Wood will feel different to plastic, and so on. The weight of a orange will feel different to the weight of a hammer, and so on. And this gets integrated into the visual sense as well. I've tried out a version of these where you can literally it gets tighter physically as well. So it's using components in there from a hardware perspective, and then also on the vision, the item becomes harder to lift up visually as well, and your hand moves slower. So it's all working together to trick your brain in this respect. And I suppose that's what virtual reality is trying to do, just replace senses with digital versions of those senses. Another product that we're not talking about today, but it creates smells in virtual reality. So it can create thousands of different smells based on what you're seeing. If you see an apple, it will produce that smell. When you've got all this working together, the results could be pretty significant. But let's look at the Tact Glove by B Haptics and get your perspective. All of the VR trailers are like epic movie trailers.
For sure. Very dramatic.
So each finger's got its own sensations. Compatible with existing hardware. And obviously wireless, need to be charged, but you can wash them, which is pretty cool. And not crazy price as well. And here's what it looks like with some games. So that person's feeling an apple. That's Guitar Hero, right?
Yeah.
The Guitar Hero thing's interesting. I think in theory you can learn skills with these. Tact gloves, what do you think of these, Paul?
I think it's a good idea. With Oculus, I find the controller's a bit goofy.
Yeah.
I want to do something a bit more. I want to reach out. I want the Minority Report experience. Yeah. And I think that would give it to me and would improve the experience of Oculus, certainly. Yeah.
That's a great movie, Minority Report. Yeah, it's a great movie. What do you think, Jan?
Yeah, I think the entertainment story is definitely like a lot of what we see is like training military or like or people combating, but there's like there's like a lot of entertainment or like playing the piano or performing live from a different location, for example. So it suddenly becomes a thing with this. It's pretty cool.
What do you think, Nibble?
Yeah, in terms of like a training and it's really good. Like with anything that needs kind of physical thing. If because with the other one it's quite difficult, right? So but this one, if you have it with the training, it's good. But the part that I don't understand is like the weight wise, like how will it increase the weight? So
I think this model did not increase the weight. It was another model called the Tesla glove by the same people who made the Tesla suit, and that wasn't necessarily a glove, but it had components which stretched and connected to your fingers. And it could open and close your hand based on what was on the screen. So it was a little bit more expensive, but I didn't want to give Tesla suit all the airtime. Sorry, Tesla suit, to show some competition. But that is probably the more advanced end of what the gloves can do. So that was how it kind of created the feeling of pressure by essentially forcing your hand in some respect. Hopefully, I'm describing that right, but I'm probably not.
It's certainly not creating mass instantaneously. In the point of the glove, like that. Certainly, it's not happening.
That would be cool. Okay, we've talked about training there. I think that's a really interesting area in terms of use cases for the gloves. You said piano, the guitar. In theory, you could learn how to play an instrument using these, couldn't you? You could learn how to cook using these. You could learn how to do massages. You could learn anything which involves your hands.
Even just type.
Typing. The typing one is interesting because VR is moving more and more, in my opinion, to kind of XR and mixed reality. And I do this at the moment where I play games of poker in my living room, where I can see my living room with my headset on, but I can see a virtual poker table. And even my mum and my brother have headsets, so we can play poker together in my living room, which. You can see the living room, which is blurry as hell. It's not great right now. It's black and white. The new Oculus has colour, I believe, but apparently it's not great. But that perspective opens up the idea where if you're wearing something like this, and you have your hands in a virtual world, are we going to need computers and laptops? Because if we can have a fake screen and a fake keyboard, and you're just typing on a table, and it works exactly the same as a keyboard. Could you see that becoming a reality?
Yeah, I can. My biggest issue with Oculus is when you have to do any kind of entry, you've got to point at the thing and click, and it's very cumbersome, right? Yeah. And you can't see a physical keyboard. So if you had something in the VR to do typing, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. What would your take on that be?
I think you're getting all the Neuralink people very nervous now. They're getting they were like, you don't need this keyboard. You can just like connect your brain, and we'll take care of that for you. Yeah, cool.
What's your perspective?
I think with that one, you could use here like a keyboard. The lines here, so A, B, C, like so. Sure. Yeah. Instead of actually typing, there would be a new way of typing things. So while you're sitting, you just type it.
Yeah.
So maybe
if Neuralink becomes a thing, this becomes irrelevant, doesn't it?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, probably. For this typing thing that you mentioned, there is actually a device. I've seen this on a live coding demo on stage once. It's called the Twiddler. It looks kind of bizarre, but you end up essentially typing by pressing like chords on a little plastic device, and you can like type very quickly without looking at the keyboard. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
A lot of people have tried to reinvent the keyboard, haven't they? But we're still stuck with the basic one that we have. Okay. Other use cases, doctors and surgery, they can practice and feel organs and muscle memory. That's what you talked about earlier, Paul. You get better and better. You practice something. I remember reading it was a book by, I think it was Tony Robbins, the motivational guy, and he did some training with basketball players, and he asked them to literally close their eyes and imagine making the perfect shot over and over again, and getting a one throw goes in instantly, and just imagine this, and they did this over and over and over again, and then they had a different group of people that didn't do any of this imagining. They were literally just throwing the ball in and practicing. And then when they went to see who could get a better score in the real world, the people who never touched a ball but in their mind imagined it going in over and over again were able to get better results than the people that actually were practicing and trying to do it, which kind of creates the idea that if it happens in the mind, it happens in the muscles, and then that memory that will trigger in and that response. Does that make sense?
I've seen that used in rugby as well. Kick conversion. They say, imagine kicking to the horizon to get the distance and the height. Right? Absolutely, it works.
It tricks your body into believing it. Do you see that becoming a potential use case?
Yeah. Like if you train your brain, then eventually when you're moving your muscles, your brain is going to trick it. You can't control. So once you train your brain, it's easy. Your muscles will just do. Yeah. Yeah, and memory muscles also good. With this.
Yeah. Can you see that becoming a thing where in a few years people are using it for those types of use cases?
It could be like I think for cerebral people like myself, it's kind of hard to believe that this thing is real. For sporty people, it's easier to believe, but it's 100% real. Like I think once you start doing like any sport to any level, you see that it's definitely real. So yeah, in that regard, for sure, right?
I remember the case of somebody, I can't remember who this was, but they taught themselves how to swim just by reading and visualizing themselves swimming. It's crazy what the mind can achieve.
I mean, imagine saying, like, imagine a doctor comes up to you and be like, listen, I really imagined how I'm going to operate it. You just let me...
No.
So, there's something called mirror neurons, where if you can do something, so if I can play the guitar, and I see somebody playing the guitar, I feel the experience.
Mm. It's interesting, isn't it? Okay, what about another use case of retail? Because I was in VR recently, and I went into a shoe store, and I bought a pair of shoes in VR, and I was given an NFT where I could wear the shoes in the video game, and then the next day the shoes arrived at my door as well. So I got the physical ones and the NFT ones. Okay, I wouldn't have bought those shoes if I wasn't able to pick them up and feel them in the real world. That's usually the case. But if we can have gloves and you can test out products, you can try them in a virtual world, could that have a massive impact on retail? Perhaps could that? I mean, stores are already closing, but could that be the end of the high street? If at home you can put on a headset, you can try out any product you want, and then boom, it'll be there the next day. What would your take be, Neil?
No, I think in terms of retail, like for example, buying a car or something, if you could just actually see it and feel it, I think that will motivate people to go and buy it, because like just by looking at the book or the screen, you can't actually judge how things will look like. But with this one, you are looking from every angle, so that gives you like as if you were in there. So that adds more like assurance for you to be convinced to buy it. Yeah.
What would your take be on the retail angle?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I mean, you could really go abroad with this, right? Like buying, like buying a house.
Yes.
Do I want to go on a holiday to a place X? Can I just feel, see and feel how it would be if I was there? Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I did the house one when I was touring my property. I got to try it out in VR before it was built, and that was not a tech company showing that to me. It was a construction company. It's crazy. But one thing that often is in the news at the moment is virtual reality land, because in the metaverse, if you have popular spots where people are all hanging out and going, that's an advertising opportunity. And you could have ads or even, will there be people buying and renting, virtual retail space, because then they can get more foot traffic through digital foot traffic, in the future. And VR land, some of it is gone for millions and millions of dollars, and there's certain applications where you have a limited supply. So, you have a limited supply in theory. In reality, they could obviously make a lot more than that. But by keeping it limited, it creates the value. It drives the prices up, obviously. What are your thoughts on the metaverse land idea, Paul?
I think it's the next step in digital marketing. Now, if you could pay to get yourself at the top of Google, you would pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So is this any different? You're paying to get yourself there. Everybody sees you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
How often do you go to the second page of Google? You just don't do it.
Don't do it now.
Yeah, and there'll be worlds right now in the metaverse where people will never go to them because that's not where the traffic is. Okay, what do you think from the land angle?
Yeah, from the land angle, I think I tried the meta one in terms of land, and for advertisement purposes, it's really good, and the limitations add a value. It's not easy, like you can just go and get it. So whoever sees first and buy that, has more opportunity.
Sure.
So yeah, in terms of, I believe it will be similar to Google for advertisement, and it really adds the value to.
What do you take on the land side, Jan?
Yeah, I mean, I see, as a rational person, I see your argument, but I just found it endlessly ludicrous when people are like, yeah, I'm buying a home next to Snoop Farm on the Metaverse. I'm like, what does this even mean? What's the,
I know it's so ridiculous as an idea that it's either completely genius or completely just going to be nothing in a couple of years, right? If you think about companies which know more about you than any other company, you could argue that Facebook is the one, because they know what your likes are, they know who you like. They have, I know WhatsApp's encrypted, so they don't really know what you're saying, maybe. But and then obviously Instagram, exactly the same thing. They know what you like to see, what you like to watch, right? So who owns these companies? It's Meta. And if you're in the metaverse and you see an ad, that ad could be completely custom to every single person that sees it, based on what is more likely going to get you to buy something. That's not something that I've seen in Meta. I mean, right now, ads, they don't make it fun. I mean, ads, no one likes ads, right? So they kind of need to make it fun first to get people on board. But in terms of making money from the metaverse, because right now they're losing, billions over at Meta on this, that could be a way to turn the tide and get it going. Custom advertising based on each person. The privacy questions there are a bit, but we're already seeing custom ads, but seeing them in the metaverse is obviously a lot better than seeing them in real life. And then if you connect that to AR glasses, what about digital billboards that you see in the real world? Could you then see a different ad? Could the actual billboard just be a QR code when you take your glasses off, but when you put them on, it changes to what's custom based on your interests. I mean, we're talking about the next stage of advertising there, but what do you think, Jan, when I describe, you know, that potentially dystopian vision of the future?
Potentially dystopian. I mean, like you went like full dystopian. I mean, like, yeah, all of the privacy stuff I think is like the extension of like the current privacy concerns, right? So I see that as very similar, right? Like I don't see that as being like fundamentally different. It seems just an extension of the challenges that we're having now.
Yeah.
But if there's money to be made, I'm pretty sure people will spend the time to get it going and figure something out. Yeah.
What would your take be on the advertising angle?
In terms of advertising, you see what Meta, they're making money is the users, not the actual people who. So in terms of users, I think the current users will be more like, you know, how many people will have, you know, VR who will see what you want to advertise. So I think it will be a bit limited, and they're not going to reach like 2 billion the way it is now.
Yeah.
So if you look from that angle, so I think it would be like 10%. I wouldn't bet all my money in there. So
yeah, well, they have done. I mean, they've rebranded their company, right? Yeah. It's interesting what's happened. Their value as a company has gone from 1 trillion to 300 billion in a year. They've lost 70% of their value. Mark Zuckerberg's personally lost $100 billion this year. He's gone from the third richest man to not even on the top 10 list anymore. So it's not working currently. They need to find a way to make more money from this and keep investors happy. But digital advertising in the metaverse, what do you think, Paul?
For me, privacy is about being one step ahead of the regulator. If there's no rules saying you can't do this, you can do it. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing with Facebook and everything else. So maybe this is a way of getting one step ahead for a few years before the regulations catch up, and use that as a next step in digital marketing, to use how people interact in the metaverse, and then put the adverts up or in how they interact with people.
Yeah. Okay, let's get your ratings, please, of the Tact glove by B Haptics. Let's hold it up in front of you, please. We've got a 9, we've got an 8 and an 8. That's exactly the same as the Tesla suit. Okay. So 25-25. I feel like we need to have a winner here. So if you had to vote Tesla suit or Tact gloves, Nabil, which one would you pick?
Tesla suit, yeah.
Okay, so we've got 1 point for the Tesla suit. Paul?
Tact gloves.
Okay. You're the deciding factor.
Oh my goodness, so much pressure. No, it's going to be the suit.
It's going to be the suit. Okay, yeah. Well done, Tesla suit. I think I'd probably agree. Why do you think the Tesla suit, though, won that, you know, little game? Why do you think that is the potentially the killer app when it comes to VR?
Like the glove just seemed like it may struggle. Like it's better than the controller.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually unlock like that much more. Like the controller could also vibrate and send you like some haptic feedback back to your hands, right? It probably does already. But the suit is like, that's like a whole nother experience. I was actually like, yeah, this could be like a much richer, like movies that were like the suit vibrates, like it was like a shooting scene or something. Like, oh,
that's cool.
Yeah, that would be.
I like that. Yeah. Well, why do you think the suit won?
The suit covers like part of your body, so it's not just. Maybe they could have soon they will add gloves into it. So
yeah, no brainer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it covers like almost 90% of your body already.
Yeah.
So, and the amount of things that you can feel, it's like, this is large. So this one is good, but it's only your hand. So, and sometimes, through the gaming and all that, they tried that bit, like the vibration bit and so on. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think the suit's the best? Oh, you don't. You voted for the.
I can tell you why I said the glove, because for me it's more accessible.
Yeah.
It's something I'm going to have at home, and if I was going to use something, I'd put it on, get in there, right?
Yeah.
That's stopping me at the moment using the Oculus much. If I had that glove, I would use it more. That's why I was thinking.
Okay. Final question. If we combine these technologies, so we've got super advanced virtual reality headsets. Meta have just released their latest. It's expensive. It's more of a dev kit in my opinion, but it's it's heading in a direction where the graphics are just going to get better and better and better and better. And pretty soon, the argument could be made that it will be indistinguishable from real life. You'll put it on and you won't be able to tell the difference, right? And then obviously you can do unlimited things. Though, combine that with a treadmill where you could run in any direction, you can crouch, walk, swim, jump, etc. Combine that with clothing where you can feel. Combine it with the hands where you can touch. Combine it with what I mentioned earlier, the smell. I'm not sure how we can do VR taste. I don't know how possible that would be. But if you can trick your other senses, okay, how long will it be? Like, imagine that all goes to plan. Imagine Meta pull it off, or whoever pulls it off. Imagine that all goes to plan, right? Just hypothetically, the experience of virtual reality is indistinguishable from real life. Okay, it's got a long way to go, but let's say that happens. Okay, do you think people will spend the majority of their time in VR or a big chunk of it? What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, right now without the VR, a lot of people are spending their time through gaming and so on. So the VR adds a value into it. So it makes more like, in terms of being lazy and bringing side effects for just sitting for a long time. This just removes that part. So it removes the negative part of what we're doing right now. Yeah. And I think that, I think it will be, a lot of people will try to use that, escape from the real world and just go to that and just imagine where they want to be and what they want to do. Yeah.
I mean, you're already looking at your phone for hours a day. You get the screen time notifications. What's the difference? Is it the screen here or is it here? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you already see people. I don't know how, like, people spending hours and hours, like, on Minecraft and whatnot. People love to be in a different world. Like, people love to detach themselves. So in that sense, yes. On the other side, it is hard. Like, with the phone, you can just put it down. With a computer, you can just walk away. This is kind of accessibility argument that Paul mentioned, where you can, here it's like much harder to actually get in and out. Yeah. Like, to go get a glass of water, you still need to get out of VR. Like, you still need to go to your kitchen.
True. I don't know how they can replace food. Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's a good red letter day, birthday, team building experience. You want to go and experience it on a day-to-day thing. I'm not so sure.
You don't think we'll ever replace reality?
I think it needs to be less intrusive.
Yeah. What if it was in the form of glasses like this big?
Yeah, or projection into the eyes.
Yeah.
That's the next step, I think. And then, yes, I'd buy it. And
if we consider this a possibility, right, in terms of the graphics are going to get better and better, and people start buying this, and it starts coming together, you can make one purchase, and you get all of that together as a bundle. And we know what it's like with the price of technology; it just comes down and down and down and down and down, and pretty soon they'll be selling these, and they already are selling them at a loss, because you buy the hardware, then you make the money up in the software, and you can buy the apps and whatnot. So. How long do you think that could be? Like, if we had to completely guess, right? But are we saying 5 years, 10 years, until people are spending a big chunk of their day and their life within this simulation? If you had to guess, Paul, what would you say?
I'm saying 10 years.
10 years, okay. Under or over? What do you think?
Super hard. It's super hard because it's like exponential in nature, and like when it starts curving, it goes up very, very fast. Yes. So I'm gonna invoke my scientific program. Like, withhold judgment. It's very hard to say. It's like, could be 10, could be 100.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it will be less than 10 because the speed of things that either like tablets didn't exist a few years ago and now they exist, and so I think it will be less than 10 years. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Just a yes or no from each of you. Is that a good thing? If people are spending all their, like, a big chunk of their day in a fake world, like, yes or no?
No.
What do you think?
Probably not.
No.
I don't think it is either. No, it's probably not. I think it will be a great way to escape and to go and do really, really, really cool stuff. But I don't want that to be my primary experience. If you get one life on Earth, live this life rather than the fake life. But who knows? Are we already in a simulation right now? Yeah.
But, like, for some people, they may not have that life. So this will be the actual life they will predict. They will see it. So for them, maybe, this is kind of escaping mood. So they will just be in there and experience everything.
Yeah.
And then win in the Matrix.
Hey, thanks for watching this YouTube video. If you want to see more like this, please remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.